Down, 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 down 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 down. Down the down the diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle diddle down the down the diddle down down the down the diddle 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 diddle.
G'day and welcome to the live show for round 16, the last of our bye rounds and the last of our best 18s. We are here to talk you all through the chaos. Let's go!
Just done it from nowhere. Lifting the goal from inside the circle. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty. Petrarca. The legend becomes immortal.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy. And I'm joined by the man who has had more shots than one. Luke Rogerson, how are you, mate? You just over there breaking things in the studio today? That's the second time, mate.
No, it's all right. I'm good. I've just been to the pub, I'll have you know. I've got a gentle buzz about me, and I'm ready to talk some fantasy.
Ready to talk some fantasy. So, look, we're back on the beers again today. Hopefully it's not a Moz, because last week when we were on the rums, I had a top 300 round rank and caught myself up in some of the rankings, mate. So if I go poorly this week, we're getting smashed every Friday afternoon from here on out. So hopefully, for your sake, I'll go well this week.
I don't know this for my sake business. I handled it absolutely expertly last week. Did you drink the rest of the rum, or have you?
No, still there.
Okay.
We'll bust it. I think that's like on air exclusive for
Right. Yeah, that's for the team. We've got it. There's no point in getting it out in private. That's the rum we drink on the show.
That's the show rum.
So tell me what happened last night, because I checked some scores this morning, and I'll give you the hot tip. I'm not real happy.
So we'll start with that straight away. So is Horne-Francis poo number 2 is the question, because your season went off the rails when you traded in Mateus Philippou. Could it go further off the rails from last week's trading in Horne-Francis?
Look, I was wrong about Horne-Francis last week. I said that he was not horny. I said he was perhaps even asexual. But I was wrong, because that guy has fucked me all year.
So dickin'.
By the definition of sexual, he's been all over me at every turn. I can't get away from that man.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty quenched when you're subbed tactically in a game. Look, yeah, the man's clearly not 100%. They smashed Carlton last night. But, yeah, this is a new low for. I feel bad. Because
You don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad. But I do feel bad for anyone who I might have talked into, because I was considering Horne-Francis at the start of last week. And I think the week you brought in Philippou, I was talking about Philippou, but I changed my mind on both things, and I thought I'd let the people know. But, yeah, that footage of him walking around with his noodle arms, can't lift his shoulders, it scared me, spooked me, didn't spook you, and now you're paying the price. So that's a very, very unfortunate turn of events, and I think, that really hurts if you had Horne-Francis here.
Say it with some sincerity, mate.
The other thing I feel really bad about, genuinely, because my season's fucked, but I'm trying to get our Patreon members up to the top of the tree, and some of the things that I said on our Q&A podcast was about the Berg, and I said he's got to go, he's got a role change, and he scored a dirty 50 last game.
Yeah.
He comes out and he has a 120. Have we just seen the tip of the iceberg here, Luke?
Nice. I wrote the start of my review article for that game last night, and I said that this, not even the tarot cards could have seen such a switcheroony. This was the Uno reverse.
Yeah.
So last week they gave a little bit more Connor Rosie action in the midfield, and then not only did they give Bergman back some CBAs, they gave him every fucking CBA that there was to be had.
Yeah.
He went from sort of mid-50s to absolutely top of the tree. And you know what the sickest part of all this is?
What?
Port Adelaide lost last week, and they won this week.
They convincingly as well.
So-
and I think there was also talk, like quotes from the coach. I remember seeing like that he'd be playing more in the defense line. So this was just a straight up lie.
This is, and like you said, you should feel horrible. You're a prick. You did not see this coming. No. And ironically, just like the Titanic didn't see the iceberg coming, we also didn't see Miles Bergman coming.
Yeah, how many Titanic jokes can we fit in there? Look, fortuitous for me. I never had him. So hopefully...
that makes us all feel so much better.
People that traded him out.
That's brilliant.
I can, just move a little closer. I'd imagine a lot of people might have traded Bergman to a teammate of his in Zach Butters, which would have felt nice before the game, but horrible after the game, because Zach Butters, who again was someone I had not at the top of the trade list, but he was in my top 5 midfield targets. He basically had his worst game for a little while. Worst game since round 10 with a 79. He had 30 touches though, Luke, which is the most disappointing part to me. The fact that you're going to have a 30 touch game and still go sub 80 that's not what I expect from Butters.
Yeah, it's a little bit shitty because trading him in, although he's underpriced, you're expecting him to score pretty closely to those kind of top 8 mids, and for the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks it hasn't been that case.
Yeah, no tackles and mark. I mean, he had
No.
some, but hardly any. Yeah, just very disappointing. One tackle.
Yeah.
Butters
Bad.
tackles more than that.
The keen-eyed observer, and of course, I did not watch last night's game, said that the Berg was in there tagging Cripps. And so not only did he do a good job of that, but he also scored well.
Somehow tagged Butters as well.
Thank you, Lats, for your super chat. I am definitely kissed being on school holidays.
Oh yeah, you are on school holidays now. Well, you're sort of out of a job now as well.
Unemployed, yes.
Living that student life now. So you're on the endless holidays. So yes, that's Lats there.
Tim.
Yeah. Just us working hard, folk over here.
Hardly working,
Lats and
I,
still grinding it out.
Thank you as well, Tim, for your super chat. Tim's super chat says that he's going to give us a question, so we will eagerly anticipate that question for you, Tim, as well.
Might have already.
Oh, has he already snuck in a question?
He's already. I'm trying to find it, Tim. Tim, if you in future, if you want to pop your question as a super chat, it will help us. But I have found it. So he has 136k. So Clark to McCarthy, tick. Lyo Man, which is I'm assuming Lohman,
yep.
to West, and Hardiman to Anderson, keeping merit or anything else. So I think those are absolutely fine trades. West, I'm a little bit wary on in terms of his sustainability to stay in the side.
It could go south pretty quick.
Or north or east. Yep, very nice. But Anderson, I like Anderson as a bit of a play. What are your thoughts on Anderson versus Melbourne this week? Is he a chance to get... What was that? just trying not to ruin the room.
None of your business, mate.
Is he a chance to get like a Viney tag or some kind of attention? What the hell is Melbourne doing with tags and run with rolls these days? Because they were a bit all over the shop with that.
I wouldn't jump at it. This one, I think I'd be happy to trade in Noah Anderson. And you're not looking. I mean, you hope for that sugar hit, but long term, his run to the end of the season actually looks very, very good.
Yeah, right up until the last couple of weeks, he looks really nice. And the thing that does concern me is he's coming off a 42 disposal, 2-goal game, and I think other coaches will see that and want to do something about it. But Melbourne, they're a bit hard to read. But like I said, after that, I think he'll be really, really good. And I think he can average 110 between now and the last 2 rounds of the season, which I think is great value for his price.
Continuing on with the Thursday night review, Adam Cher. Look how happy! Look how happy! We haven't spoken since last night. This is the first time we've even spoken, and I knew you would be coy as fuck. But this was meant to be the round my team would actually go somewhere because I don't have any of your Zorkos, your Merits, your so on and so forth. And Adam Cher gives me a fucking 59. At least make it a 69. At least I get a giggle. But 59, fuck me, from a guy. I can't complain too much. He's been killing it, but it's just the wrong week for it, please, Adam. Fuck.
It's just a bit of bad luck in terms of that last weekend. And has he booked himself as the first luxury trade?
Yeah,
for next week.
I think this week was his last hurrah.
Yeah. Let's just to clarify, it's not a bad thing. Did you say hurrah? I didn't even hear that.
No, I'm undervalued. That's why I'm out of a job.
I just wanted to clarify to the Lats that it's out of a job electively. Like it was a choice. He wasn't fired or anything like that. Although maybe if they listen to this podcast, there'd be rooms for groundings for a firing.
I'm more sad about my fantasy team, Lats.
You're a full-time coach now and student of the game. And Tim, please tell me what I should do. I guess hopefully we'll further. Well, he's talked about merit. I personally would do the upgrade over trading merits, just to clarify if Tim thought we didn't touch on that part of the deal as well. Because I think if you still have players to upgrade, which those 3 players you talked about before, Tim, I do think they need to be upgraded. I'd be doing that. And then merit, his 2 nice games after the buys are good. Should come good for a 4-game stretch. And then if it's really not there in those 2 matchups, you can trade him later on. But I think upgrading now is still the priority.
Very nice.
What else have we got? Yeah, Cripps. So he got tagged. I also remember thinking or seeing something that he's carrying a bit of an injury at the moment. So I was talking about him maybe getting arrested or something like that. But they keep fucking losing. I mean, maybe there might be a point where they just hang it up. Carlton looking really bad at the moment. Let's talk about the teams. We mentioned the tarot cards earlier. I think they're telling us they're predicting poor health because our boy Taro, he's out.
Oh,
Injured.
and he's taken Dewar off the radar with him.
Oh, shit. Is that what yeah, I'm mixing that up, aren't I?
So I don't fucking know.
No, I was talking about radar.
I'm fixated. My radar is so fucking locked in.
So scratch that.
I'm all about Dewar.
I was trying to make a joke and it didn't work. Taro is still in, but Dewar is out, injured, and he is the one that we had our sights set on with that negative break even. So scratch that plan. And my whole talk of a triple downgrade at the start of the week was absolutely a time waster. So we're not going to be trading him in, obviously. Other team news, Trelaw, obviously we knew, but he's confirmed out for 6 weeks with a calf injury.
Matt Kennedy stocks are just...
Well, yeah, they're up. Well, they were already up. They just won't come down. Essentially.
Yeah.
There's no buying the dip. So that man is still locked in as a top 6 forward. Charlie West, debut for Collingwood, is basement price ruck forward option. Again, I have a little bit of concerns about how long he's in that team. He might just be there sort of 1 or 2 games and then back out. Peatling's back off his suspension. And I'm going to check the 5 o'clock teams because there's a watch on Shawnee Das.
Oh.
And
Shawnee.
just Harry Boyd that's always just sticks his head in there. Okay, so no Harry Boyd as probably predicted, but Sean Darcy is in the 23. So the flow-on effects for Luke Jackson. What do we think?
Where is he named? He's just on the bench.
He's on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the sub, right?
No.
Like
Bring him on for a bit of run.
like, he might be subbed out. In fact, I would.
Yeah, he could play
would
50% time and then be subbed out.
Yeah,
And
I think they'll probably do the 5 sub out Sean Darcy kind of trick that they've done before.
Yeah, so I don't so much mind it. I mean, especially if you're already a Jackson owner, you're not doing anything at this moment.
Does it
I don't even mind
dissuade you from trading him in?
I don't even know. I think Fremantle have been on such a tear. And I think part of it has been because not only is he playing predominantly ruck, but then when Sean Darcy has played, he's gone and then played midfield and he's been killing it. Hitting the scoreboard, big fantasy scores. So I think you could likely still trade into him with hopefully a little bit of... The trouble to me is like, okay, if you're going for a forward...
Yeah.
Who else do you want?
I mean, if money's no object, I'd pay up for Kennedy.
You're paying...
McRae?
I like McRae more than you.
I'm coming around.
Okay.
I'm coming around, and I think this is enough for me to push McRae ahead of Jackson for me. He's cheaper than Jackson.
We've seen it
I think
before.
the role, you've said this, and I do agree. I think the role is safe. And so that just maybe I'm being a bit of a pussy here and just going with the safe option and McRae with the role safety. Jackson's probably a little bit exciting. So, yeah, I think it does just nudge him down a little bit. If you got him last week, awesome. You're holding him. That's great. I think if you missed the pop score last week, I'd be hesitant to go there now. I think there might be other options. I mean, the forwards are it's hard to pick right now. If you can't get to Old Mate Kennedy, the others just don't fill me with a lot of confidence. I'd be waiting for a little bit more clarity there, I think, personally.
Yeah, it has.
So that's the team news here. Tim wants to know if there's any other options over West as a downgrade target. So I think the 2 top targets, one of them's already played. So Liddy, hopefully, I can't remember your question there, Tim, but hopefully Liddy's in your side. McCarthy, they're the clear top 2. So some people might already have those guys though. So the next options I would have would be someone like a Butler. Now, he is a bit more expensive from Hawthorn, but he's got a decently low break even, and I think hopefully he's got a bit of job security there now.
I think if you had intended on Dewar,
yeah, he's cheaper than Dewar was.
it's likely the option to pivot to.
But if you wanted a cheaper guy, and if you didn't have both of Ralston and May, I'd be very happy to trade in one of them this week. And then I know that I can get the other one next week because we're going to go back to 2 trades next week. You're not going to be able to get both those guys in with low break evens. And so if you're looking for a cheap forward, Tim, May would be another option. Outside of that, there's not too many. So if you have all of those players or it doesn't work, then I would be okay going to West on that, if that's sort of the final option, but I would try and explore those other options first. Okay, so
You ready to put the goggles on, mate? Is it that time already?
yeah, hell, we're flying through. Let's get big and talk some boys.
Okay.
Big boy, I need a big boy. Give me a big boy.
Woo! Let's talk big boys from the number one captain picker in the world, Luke.
That's a big place. The world is large.
And I'm even doing it with injuries in my top 5.
Wow.
That's how much of a lead I had.
Oh, it's impressive stuff, really.
So yes, didn't have anyone in the top 5 last night. Probably should have Rosie in my top 10, but I, typically not a good matchup for defenders. But Connor Rosie is just the GOAT. He's the GOAT halfback. But coming at number 1, it's a pretty obvious one this week, and it is Jordan Dawson. He's the number 1 averaging midfielder, the only midfielder averaging 110 plus this year. And he comes up against Richmond, who's the easiest team to score against for the season for any position, and the easiest team to score against for midfielders on the season. So we saw what Bulldogs did last week. Bont went to absolute work on them, and I think Jordan Dawson can do the same. So he's at number 1. Nick Dacos is at number 2 against West Coast. He will just dominate them. They haven't really been tagging or doing anything. They might try, but they don't really have anyone like Graham. He's not a tagger per se. Baker, he again, not a tagger. He'll play hard and try to be accountable, but that's not really their game. So I think those are the clear top 2 this round.
It feels to me like Nick Dacos is built for those kind of matchups where there's just not much in it. Collingwood should roll these guys easy, and he can cruise around and just collect +6s.
He's still got a Brownlow to think about too, I think. He has still a chance to win that Brownlow, and in these kind of matches, he's going to want to get his 3 votes.
Given that Jordan Dawson, I think he plays first game on the Sunday. Am I right in saying that? Given
yes,
that
you're
is
right.
the case, what is our line that we're taking with our VC if we're going into Dawson with the C?
I think if you have the top 2, I'd be taking 120 as my line.
Oh, that's
I think,
big. Is there any
I
chance
think if you only had one of the 2, I might take 110.
Jordan Dawson forward? Doesn't matter? Peatling back? Peatling back didn't really matter before. Dawson's been that.
Yeah, he's the guy. Sam Darcy went off against them, and he's playing a bit of forward time. So
This is true.
no, I think it's a pretty safe bet, and Dawson's got a pretty high floor. So I think those 2 players, if you have both of them, I'd be trying to look for a 120. The next lot, my confidence drops a little bit. At number 3, I've got a bit of a swing. There's a little downside with this one, but I've got Noah Anderson at number 3 against the Demons. Now, he's having a great season. He has the ceiling if the tackles and marks come. Now, Melbourne...
Bless you. Bless you again.
Excuse me, maybe this is a bad omen, but Melbourne are top 3 in marks conceded, top 2 second in the past 5 rounds for conceding marks. So they play a pretty low pressure game style, which I think will suit Anderson perfectly. Maybe not a sign for big tackle numbers, but his season high for tackles is 4. So he can get big scores even without massive tackles. So I think he could go big on this one. Just a little flag that he could get a little bit of attention. So he'd be a nice VC, I think, with a high ceiling potentially in this matchup. Number 4, Tristan Sherry. He's been a bit underwhelming the last 3 weeks, but I think he bounces back in this one. Hawthorn are actually a nice matchup for Rucks, like a top 6 Ruck matchup, and I just think he's due. He's due for a big one.
UTAS, big
wide ground.
Yeah. Less stoppages, perhaps. Another VC option potentially.
Another VC option. I think he's just good enough that those sort of factors I don't read in too much with him. The matchup to me is more important. And then Andrew Brayshaw comes in at number 5. Disappointing last round when his teammate went massive, but I think that's going to be a good thing for him in this matchup. I think last time he played St Kilda, he got the tag. I think after the last few performances from Caleb Sarong, St Kilda would be crazy not to put attention his way. and then Brayshaw should be able to run free. So I've got Brayshaw at number 5, and I think he should go 110 plus. Maybe doesn't quite have the massive ceiling that he's had in years gone by, but I think somewhere between the 110, 130 range should be very achievable for Brayshaw this week.
That one, I think it might be a little bit tougher. Last game of the round, so you can only put the C on him.
It's not a VC option.
And if Big Ross the boss does decide to tag him, it could be curtains. But I don't mind it. So am I right in saying that leaves you with Anderson into Dacos?
That looks to be like what I am doing, yes. I think I like the ceiling potential with Noah Anderson. I would feel a little bit nervous going into him as a C with the potential options there, but I do think that he is on a bit of a heater at the moment, and Melbourne typically have been a decent matchup, but they have thrown a few curveballs our way this year time to time.
Beautiful. You ready to ruin it all with your spicy take?
Yes.
Feeling hot, indeed. And because you're going to ruin it all,
Yeah.
I'll let you do it straight away.
Keep this in mind. This is a spicy take. So I don't actually think this is going to happen. So keep in mind what I just said with the big boys. But Jordan Dawson, my spicy take is that he camels it up against Richmond. He's just going to kick his feet up and chill down in the forward line, and he's not going to overexert himself. He's a team player, this guy, captain of the club. He's going to let his other guys fill their boots while he sits down the forward line. And I think he goes sub 90.
You think
this
he's
week.
subbed as well?
No, he goes sub 90, below 90 in this round. And
seen-
everyone's disappointed with their captain that they've traded him for.
We've seen this game before. We have seen you've got a sniff, and you are suddenly back to your old ways, mate. You are coy, and you are
No, sniff. What do you mean? I'm still at fucking 3,000, mate. Like,
well, you went up 3,000 last week. So if you go up another 3,000, then
Not quite. I went up like 2,700.
well, I think you got a sniff. And after last night, Horny Boy subbed and Cher sub 60. I think Mitch has got a sniff. I think he's got his tail up.
No.
We need to put a stop to this. Get your spicy takes in the comment section if you haven't already. My spicy take is going to extend for a couple of weeks because...
Just in time for everyone to forget it.
Yes, exactly. Max Gawn, it could be over before it starts. Max Gawn is going to go sub 80 this week, okay, against the Gold Coast.
Yep.
But it's actually going to start a run of 3 weeks straight where he goes sub 100.
That's pretty spicy, mate. This guy's averaging 116.
That's how I do it. That's how I do spicy.
He's only had one game below 60, below 80 the entire season.
Hey, I'm holding the maracas. Shut up.
Ah.
So,
Cool. All right.
less spice. I got it covered, mate.
The one game he did go under 80, he has that matchup in 3 weeks. So it's in your little bracket there.
Hey, so he goes Witts, O'Brien, Sherry. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically the 3 hardest matchups in a row. I'll see what you're doing there.
Hey, no one else is holding maracas. I am.
No, that's good. That's good.
My turn.
Let's get your spicy takes, guys, in the comment section below. We know the rules. It's either optimistic or you're trying to moz someone. Just there's little mind games in. That's exactly what the spicy take is there for. So the other thing is get your questions in, guys. Super chats will read out first, but if you had a question before, please just pop them in down again, and we'll get to them because we'll start reading from the bottom. So.
Well, I'm Mitso in the chat. Spicy take says English scores sub 70. No, sorry.
I am a little worried about Tim English's run for the rest of the season. He's not got the best.
We get to decide the spicy takes. That one's not allowed. Not allowed.
No,
Sorry,
no.
can't do it.
Maybe a week early. I reckon maybe against North that might be pretty fair.
Very nice, very nice.
Taco Chicken asked us to rank Colby, Mills, and Flanders.
Oh, Colby, Mills, Flanders.
That's my order too, and it's a fair distance between Mills and Flanders. I think Mills and Colby are pretty close. I just think you're going to get similar outcome from Mills and Colby.
Yeah,
and one's just a bit cheaper.
Yep,
younger, less injury history. So I'm going there. Flanders, I think a lot of people are going off a heat map. And I just think we need
off a heat map.
Yeah, like
what is it one of those peens again?
No, it wasn't a peen. Although there were some of those.
I'm trading that guy in. Look at his peen.
But he had a nice heat map, which looked like he was a bit more in the midfield. is what I understand. Yeah, so that was his heat map. But I just think that we're clutching a little bit there with that.
These heat maps are not to be trusted. We've already seen
Yeah,
the things that
like
they
the
can do.
CBAs weren't there. He just had a good game, is what I understand. And yeah, I don't trust it yet.
Has spicy take Mills sub 60 tonight? I don't like the sound of that either. All these spicy takes that go against the players I've got. Tom says Darcy or McRae in lads. Darcy or McRae, Mitch? You're a Darcy owner?
I think it's McRae. Darcy, it was similar to Luke Jackson. He was a last week play with the Richmond matchup. He could still go well, and obviously he's averaging 100 if you remove his injured score. Which is insane for a key forward. I just think if you missed him last week, and a lot of people might have jumped on, I think the better bet to make is that you avoid him and cross your fingers that he goes back to doing what key forwards do, and that's be volatile scorers. So I think by chasing last week's score with a key forward, I don't know if that's what you really want to do here.
I also kind of think if you're a team coming up against the Bulldogs, like which are the magnets that you're circling on the board?
He's like the first one. At the
Yeah,
moment.
and up until this point, no one's really been able to stop him, which just speaks to how good he is. But the problem is that he is going to continue to get attention. People don't care if Jack McRae runs around and gets 30. And the thing that I've been saying all week is if Jack McRae gives you a couple of 90 scores, well, there's every chance there's a 140 plus coming around the corner that suddenly makes all those 90s look like hundreds. So, yeah, I think it's safer, but, as you guys have seen, we're not seeing them awesome this year. Rosa has jumped in with a super chat. We appreciate that, Rosa. Asks here, after Cher's massive sub 60, do I be aggressive and trade Tom Green to Kennedy to make up for it, or just go with the stiff upper lip and hold Green?
It is a pretty poor score. You'd want that to be one of the ones that drops off. So a couple of factors here. Do you have any, what's the trade you were going to make? Was that a trade that upgraded a rookie? Was that your last rookie that you were upgrading? Do you have another one to do next week before we're back to best 22? How many players do you have on field? How many premiums do you have this round?
Yeah.
When do GWS play? Oh, no, they don't play. Who is he trading into? Kennedy. So that's tonight. So it has to be made tonight.
I've got a similar situation where I've obviously got that Cher score, and then I could ask the question: Do I try and trade long up or something like that? In my instance, I'm choosing not to. I'm gonna have 22 playing, and I'm thinking that if I get lucky, Cher's score will drop off. So I'd need all my other premiums basically to score like premiums, given that I've got Horn Francis as well. But that's my 2 cents, Rosa.
Yeah, I think it's a play to trade these guys, especially if you already have that completed team. I'd be trading those guys before I'd trade your other iffy premiums. Like I'd trade Tom Green in this instance before I traded a Caleb Daniel or an Isaac Rankin or Clayton Oliver or one of these types, because at least they're playing and you're going to get a points rise. And like we saw with Bergman, some of these other guys can just come in and pop a big score. So I'd be doing that before that. I think I'd still prioritize the rookie upgrade if I had one to make. Because I do think Tom Green, as meh as he's been most of the season, I still think he's probably there or thereabouts top 8 mid. He's just doing what needs to be done at the moment. So probably someone I'd rather just keep on my side.
David wants to know, who would you hold, Dunkley or Merritt?
Would I rather hold Dunkley or Merritt? Oh, that's actually...
See, the thing that makes this tough, the answer would be Dunkley, but the thing that makes it tough is the fact that Merritt comes into 2 good matchups, and we're hoping that also the Essendon coaching staff come to their senses with a week off. Whether that happens or not.
They're both very similar price too. I was surprised to see Dunkley as cheap as he is.
Yeah,
he was poor
outside of
previously.
last week. Yes.
That's a really hard one. I think
if I'm highly ranked and I'm really happy with where I'm at in my leagues, then I'm gonna keep Dunkley. If I'm lowly ranked and I want, to borrow the Calvinator's phrase, swing for the fences, hit sixes, then I'm going to keep Merritt.
I think I'm keeping Merritt in both scenarios.
Okay, you're back in a couple of big performances.
I just think that nothing's working for them. So why stick with that? I've just seen far more history from Merritt. The matchups are better. Dunkley's in a team where he doesn't have to do those big games all the time, and they're getting by. So I think Merritt to me is the high ceiling play there.
Tim's got a question. Bont or Dawson? In Tim's scenario, going Bont gives him a little bit more flexibility, bring in McRae next week for Butler. Did you do a little bit of digging into Bontempelli against the Swans?
There was a comment about his history against the Swans. I didn't see much.
Okay.
There was like one game a fair while ago where he went absolutely nuts, but a few 90s, low tons. Like, it wasn't anything awe-inspiring. So, he just scraped into the top 10 big boys this week, but I'd have to say I think Rowbottom's going to be next to him all game. So this is the situation where I probably would just pay up for Dawson. I think he's going to be a must-have at some point.
Surely Bont's going to be that as well. I don't know.
But why not get Dawson, who's going to be a must-have? Why not get him for this Richmond matchup? Like, if you're going to get him now while he's about to go massive. I think Bont, he's cheap, but he'll still be cheap next week. And I think after this week, going to North, Adelaide, Brisbane, Essendon, like, that's the run where he's going to avoid the attention. His break-even's still 116, so he's not going to get away from you. I think I'd just back the match up in there and go Dawson.
Connor's got a couple of scenarios for us here. Connor says Daniel and Long to Mills and McRae, or Daniel and Cooper Simpson to McRae and Rouston, or Long and Simpson to Rouston and either Anderson or Green. Caleb Daniel can hide behind the fact of the line that he's on, and also in the role that he's been playing, I actually think UTAS Stadium could be somewhat friendly to him. So in this situation, would you get aggressive and trade Long and Simpson? Obviously, you're bringing in Rouston a week early. He's going to sit there, but he's going to be a guy that everyone wants next week.
I think I'd do the Mills play. Get like 2 half upgrades.
So you go both Daniel and Long out, Mills and McRae.
I think I would do that.
Get guys going in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that just feels like you're plugging a few more holes. And there's just more midfield options, I think. Like, Anderson, he's nice. I think he'll be good. But I think there are other midfield options. Like, if you don't have Bont, you can get him next week. Or if you don't have Butters, he'll be still super cheap. There's just more guys I think you could go to as, like, parachute options.
Corey's been all across the rumour mill here and says that McCartan could be a late out tonight and subsequently Darcy will go off. So if you were umming and ahhing and that was enough to make your decision for you, it doesn't sound like a bad way to make a decision that you're already having trouble with.
Yeah, so he'd be the matchup, yeah?
Of course.
They don't have too many, like...
Not rangy type defenders.
Big defenders, do they? Okay.
Ooh,
well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I think if you're genuinely umming and ahhing and you don't have anything to split that decision, whether it's sort of Darcy or McRae or something like that.
Pelican there.
The Pelican.
Yeah, there's not many.
No match. There's no match for Darcy.
There's not much, yeah. I reckon that's a good matchup for him tonight still. Although the table indicating toughness does say that key forwards against Sydney Swans is actually a tough matchup, but I can't really see why, to be honest. Maybe it's just a team game plan sort of thing that they do. I don't know.
Nathan's got a ruck question here. Who are we trading in? Are we trading in Grundy or are we trading in English? Both have been good recently.
I'm trading in Grundy. As weird as that sounds, the run for English gets a lot tougher for the rest of the season. So,
is there a chance we trade?
I think there is.
The white-headed Adonis.
A chance we trade in the next few weeks. So he has Sydney this weekend, obviously tonight. Then he plays North Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane. Then he's got a couple of nicer ones against Essendon and GWS, but then he also goes into Melbourne in round 22. So between now and round 22, he has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matchups. 5 of his next 7 matchups are difficult matchups. 2 nice ones, but 5 hard ones. So I'd be not chasing him there. And he is expensive now, 1.129 million, because he's been a gun.
He's been killing it.
Grundy's expensive too, but not quite as much. And I think, Bulldogs, Freo, St Kilda. North is tough, but then GWS, Essendon, like his 5 of his next 6 is pretty nice.
Bales is on the Fantasy Fanatics account. If you haven't checked out the Fantasy Fanatics, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, get over that man Bales. Does shots on his...
He puts shots away way better than you.
No, false. That is fake news if ever I've heard it. But he does have a question. He says, tick off these legends, Clark to McCarthy, Johnson to Liddy, and Foss to Mills with all rooks off field. That sounds lovely. Lovely to me.
I'll tick those ones off for sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Matty T wants us to give a bit of a plug to the Weekend Wash Up podcast, and I will. I am familiar with Matty's work. I believe he came second a little while ago, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, definitely go and check out the Weekend Wash Up podcast. They do some funny stuff over there. So yeah, there's your plug, guys. Definitely go check them out.
Beautiful. Who else we got here? Davery says, hey boys, any truth to the rumour that Luke's old man took his surname off him and gave it to Bales for the rest of the fantasy season? I'm glad I started reading that question. That was fun for me. No, there's a running joke at the moment that I'm the third favourite out of 2 siblings.
Yes.
Myself and my sister Ellie's always been the favourite, but now actually Mitch is the adopted
Yeah,
favourite.
well, ever since I won this, I pipped you, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get any of Daddy's affection, and it just cuts me up inside.
yeah, it's a sore spot. Blake wants us to explain the Captain Challenge scoring system. So basically, the scoring system over there, which I'm number 1 in the world in, just by the way, you get five times the score of your number 1 captain, 4 times the score of your number 2 captain, 3 times, so on and so forth, and it just basically accumulates throughout the entire season. I have the highest ranking there out of everyone in the world.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Next, Sensei Steve says, greetings from Chiang Mai in Thailand. It was a brutal night indeed, Sensei Steve. It was. I only learned of it this morning, so it was a brutal morning.
Tim asks if West is okay to trade in. He just misses out on Taru. I think, if you can only get West, then I think it's okay. At this point in the season, getting the upgrades you want is the most important thing. So I'll tick it off if you have to, if there's no other option.
Eskimo has a question, and just by the way, Eskimo is absolutely killing it this year. I believe it's top 100, maybe even top 50.
Yeah, I want to say like maybe 60 or something.
There are
like that,
too many Patreon members that are fucking killing it. I can't keep everyone's rank in my mind. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Eskimo's question here is thoughts on Jacos as a trade-in. Will he be a top 6 to finish the year? Where's he sit? Is Lockie Ash?
So
Whitfield, Wang, Zorko, Sheasel, Nick Martin, 5. Are we?
Nick Martin will count him as a forward.
Yeah, of course we will. So who are we going then?
So what did you say? Sorry, Wang,
said
Sheasel, Rosie,
Zorko. I didn't count Rosie. So
Zorko.
yeah.
Is Whitfield going to bounce back?
Yep. Yeah, he'll be no problems.
I don't know if he's actually going to get into the 6, but he'll be close. Like, he'll be around the mix there.
Yeah, I think Lockie Ash has currently got him at the moment.
Yeah, he's averaging 102.4 in his last 5, and that to me is enough to have in your side. And he's cheaper than that. He's cheaper than a lot of those other guys. Like, a lot of those other guys are like over the million, 1.05 million. He's 965k. So, as a top 6-ish defender for a discount, it's solid. I think he can get around. Like, West Coast have been a tougher matchup for defenders, but I think he just racks it up. He's not a guy that accumulates a lot of like uncontested marks. He just gets a lot of disposals.
He does, yeah.
And West Coast will allow him to do that. So I think he's okay. Maybe, yeah. The run's actually decent. West Coast, Carlton, Gold Coast, Freo, Richmond. So up until round 20, it's a nice run, and then you might do a little bit of luxury season shuffling. So, yeah, I'll tick it off.
Thanks for the super chat there, Sensei Steve. Says, love you, Luke. See these random people online.
There's people giving you flowers, just...
Thanks, Dad.
He outed him.
Has says, what score / role does Flanders have to put up this week for him to be a contender?
It has to be, well, he needs to be either, and I don't think it's going to happen. He needs to either move to halfback. I definitely don't think that's happening, or he needs to get some CBA time. Anything outside of that, I just don't think I'm going to buy it. Maybe he could be a 23rd premium contender.
Yeah.
Maybe if he puts up a big score this week. But I don't know. He's been way off it. He's down 400K for the year, and that's like, that should tell you something, you know? Like, that's not something I think is bouncing back anywhere close to where he was.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how far down he is.
Yeah.
Sean's forecasting next week as well here. Sean says, Cher and Doherty trade priority over getting in both May and Rouston, or go one each. So would you go one up, one down? Just briefly talk about Cher. Is he going to get chopped next week?
I think Cher does get chopped. I think one up, one down is fine. Doherty is doing enough.
Doherty's doing enough. His break even's still going to be low. And
Yeah.
Carlton, I mean, Doherty's part of the problem, I think, but
Yeah.
Carlton have so many problems. It's
Like,
not funny.
I said this week I wouldn't trade him in. But if you've got him, you're just holding it. Maybe there is a time that he is a trade out target because the wheels could come off. But I think another week he'll be all right.
Yeah,
Another
he's probably bought himself. Just a broader topic of conversation Eskimo's brought up here is just what kind of players are we targeting potentially for that? If you're in a great position and you can get that 23rd premium, what line potentially could we target them on, and what type of player are we after?
I'd love a mid forward that has high ceiling.
That plays Richmond every week, preferably.
Yes, that plays Richmond every. So Sam Darcy to me is a good one, because you know he has the high ceiling, he has maybe a low floor, so he would be a nice 23rd premium, I think, to just have there on decent matchups when they do come up. Essentially, you're just looking for players who are cheap, really, like.
Cheap with high ceiling.
Cheap with high ceiling. So Zach Butters is going to be ultra cheap. Like maybe eventually Horn Francis.
Ooh.
Like he does have a ceiling, and he's going to be so cheap. So he could be easily someone that you could get from a bench player super easily. So that's pretty nice. In the forward line, you've got it's not as hard to meet that top 6 criteria, right?
Yeah,
so
agreed.
So anyone could do that on a given week. So that's why that line is appealing. But the midfield also seems to be a roller coaster at the moment with tags and things like that. So either a forward or a midfielder, I think, would be a nice position to have that extra premium in, or both. Maybe try to get for 24.
Get a couple more questions in, hey?
Laura snuck in before with Jacos or Bont. She currently has Jacos in with a low break even and run. What are your thoughts?
Jacos has the same run as Nakos, coincidentally, and it is a good run.
It is a nice run. It's always good when you start with West Coast.
Yeah, perhaps given the lower break even and given that good run, Josh Jacos is potentially the play here.
Bont's a nice option. Like, let's put it out there. I think he'll be a better option next week.
Then I think that makes up Laura's mind here, because if he's a better option next week and he has a higher break even, and Josh Jacos is going to do what he likes against the Weagles this week, then maybe...
I do think though, like maybe you might have other targets next week, like around 16 players. So true. I would prefer, if I needed to lock my team in for now for the rest of the season, I'd prefer to have Bont in my side for the rest of the year than I would Dacos. But if you're going to have both, then the order in which you get them in is probably Dacos then Bont. So Hal with another generous super chat. Always very generous, Hal. We very much appreciate your contributions, mate. So he just says, been a minute since I've managed to make the stream, boys. Hope you've all been well. Mills/Nod versus Wang/Rook. Have a great weekend, lads. I'm fairly comfortably in the Wang camp. And also, I'd trade in Isaiah Wanganui-Miller.
It's such a rich area every time. It never gets old. It really doesn't get old, does it?
yeah.
Oh, I mean, not
When
for us
is
anyway.
it not funny? I mean, I don't know. Some people might think it's childish, but to them I say
What do you say, Mitch?
nothing. Respect your opinion.
I think it is. We've talked about him being the biggest D in the land over the last week or so. I think he's going to be D1 as well. So it's, you want him in your team, and you want him in as much as you can get him.
Just keep fumbling through.
No, it's me going like, should I say that?
Yeah.
Like, should I say that? Is that too far?
The thing that
It's like,
no, it's never too far. It's never.
this is going on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, it's too late for that. There's so
That ship sailed.
That ship's long gone. So yeah, look, Nod, I think he's just too much at the moment. Like, I know we liked him at the start of the season, but like he's 672k. It's too much to be paying up for a guy who's like just an 80s guy. Like, what did he score? 74 last week. It's just not enough for me. I'd rather get that ceiling score of Nazire.
Yeah, no, I agree. Bales has perhaps the most important question of the podcast. We get it every week. What's for dinner?
What is for dinner? Well, you're going out for dinner, aren't
I
you?
am, yeah. I'm going to be straight in the car after this. I'm heading to the Glen. So for there's probably 0 people from Brisbane that watch this, but
Go meet up. It's a ball boys meet up.
that's not where I was going, but the Glen is on the south side of Brisbane, just pub. What do you have for dinner? Because you'll be lost without me tonight.
Yeah, lost without you. So there's a bit of talk about grilled for dinner tonight.
Okay.
Super exciting. Bit of burger action.
Yeah. What dipping sauce do you get for your chips?
I get the herb mayo. Yeah, the old herb
Not
mayo.
sweet chili mayo, I think, has to pip the herb mayo.
I like the herb.
You're a big lemon and herb guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
What burger do you get?
The crispy bacon cheese. Although I don't mind the chicken burgers recently.
Okay.
Was it the Simon Says that we got that with the
Yeah,
the
it's
Simon,
good.
Simon Says is pretty
That's my
good.
go-to.
So maybe.
Well.
Maybe in honor of Simon from the Patreon, I'll get the Simon Says.
Yes. We do like Simon from the Patreon.
Haz says see you at the Glen, mate. So
Also, Has is from Brisbane,
There you
or
go.
has just decided he's flying up. Either way, it's impressive. Let's get one more question. Hayden here says, who do I trade out? Is it Merritt or Whitfield?
ooh,
Lockie, Whitfield. This is a very tough question, Hayden, no doubt, and that's the reason you've likely asked it. But the problem with the whole Lockie Whitfield thing is that if they do decide to wrap him in cotton wool because of his concussion history and the fact that I actually believe they go into, is it West Coast that they go
yes,
into?
they play West Coast after his
Their
bye.
you're not going to know that until after essentially it's too late. I think that I would trade out Lockie Whitfield because,
I think I would too.
see above what we spoke about with Merritt coming into the good run, Essendon coming to their senses.
Yeah.
I think I'm going Whitfield.
I think the biggest disaster, like the lowest downside, is in holding Whitfield.
Yeah.
You hold Merritt, he puts out, like, I can't, like, he's not going to get tagged. Gold Coast have not tagged once this season. Dim has never tagged. So, and that's a great matchup for midfielders.
You want me to check for you?
What's that?
I'll check for you. Yeah.
Confirm?
Yeah, no tag.
Tarot
You're good.
cards.
You're
Yeah,
good.
so he's going to have at least an okay score. Whitfield could not play. He could play and have an okay score. He's going to go down more cash. They
Yeah.
both have high break evens, but Whitfield's is slightly higher.
You might even make some money, yeah.
So I'm holding Merit of those two. And then Whitfield you can get back. Again, like they're both going to be cheap, but yeah, I'm just a bit nervous that he does miss that game. Because why risk it? Why risk it? You're going to beat West Coast anyway. So that's just the extra change there.
Okay, should we let these guys go have a fiddle?
Let's do that. Go and make sure before you guys have a fiddle with your team and then make some trades, go and give us a big old thumbs up on the video, guys. Thumb this video up and get us some subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, guys, we are on the chase for 4,000 subscribers by the end of the season. We are getting very, very close. We are, 80 subscribers away. So there is more than 80 people in this chat here. So everyone, quickly double check. If you're not subscribed, hit that button right now and help us reach our 4K goal. And we will see you guys on the other side of the round. We'll catch you then. Bye.